Alright, so I'm doing my project on GMOs, or genetically modified organisms. So to start, what are GMOs? GMO stands for genetically modified organism. They are living things that have had their genetic code changed. Basically, a gene is inserted into the DNA of a single cell, and as the cell divides, that gene will be in every cell. You can think of it as a more targeted process of growing crops, but GMOs are used for more than just crops. They're used for microorganisms like bacteria, and they've been used to help create medicines and vaccines. So the benefits are not just in terms of what they can do for the food industry, but into the medicine industry as well. So you can see there's a picture of a regular piece of corn that's all messed up, and then you have a GMO corn. So why did I choose this topic? So I grew up in Hawaii before moving here to Texas. And when I was a kid, probably around when I was like 8 or 9, back in 2013 and 14, there was pretty big mass protests and controversy over whether GMOs and the companies like Monsanto and Dow and Pioneer and Syngenta should be allowed to test their products and work on the island, and whether GMO should be banned there. And basically the people's view was that it caused significant pollution and damage to the island. And so on the island I grew up on, Kauai, about 90% of industrial GMO corn grown in the whole United States was originally developed in Hawaii. So more specifically on the west side of the island I grew up on, it was pretty bad over there. So people were mad because they were testing near schools and hospitals, and there were some people getting sick. So as you can imagine, there was a pretty big debate over whether these companies should still be allowed to operate there. And so that's why I chose the topic, because it's something I'm familiar with, even though I haven't really thought about or heard much about GMOs in the past few years since these protests. So what is the current state with GMOs like in 2021? So nearly all cash crops are genetically engineered today. It's over 90%. GMOs are increasing crop productivity while conserving biodiversity and reducing CO2 emissions. So right now there are 11 commercially available GMO crops in the U.S. today, like soybeans and corn, among others. And GMOs are much more regulated by the FDA than they were 8-9 years ago, when there was a lot more controversy and protests. So you can see this graph only goes up to 2018, but you can see just from 1996 to 2018 how much more of a higher percentage of crops are GMO versus organically planted. So are there any controversies surrounding GMOs? There definitely are, or there definitely were. There's been major controversy for the past decade. The main debate and the main arguments for people protesting GMOs were, should GMO foods be labeled as such? Should they have a specific label that tells you what a GMO is and how this crop or this piece of food was grown, the effects on health, the effects on the environment, and the potential socioeconomic effects. But this controversy has definitely cooled off over the past few years. I mean, I myself haven't really heard much. And personally, when I think about it, I just think it's that we really can't live without GMOs. Like, it'd be extremely difficult to live a completely organic lifestyle and not buy any GMO products, or never eat out, pretty much. So I just think for the most part, people just realize that it's just a part of life, and the protest really wasn't going anywhere. And I think that the pros for GMOs now outweigh what maybe some people saw as the cons and the negatives. So the future of GMOs, they're going to continue to be an important tool to feed the growing world population. It's estimated that there will be 10 billion people on the planet by 2050. And there's simply no, we can't feed the whole world right now. And if we were to go to all organic crops and get rid of GMOs, there'd be a lot of hungry people, especially with the growing population. So it's a necessity to feed people, since it's a lot more effective, it's a lot cheaper, and a lot more efficient way to grow crops. and it's going to help farmers adapt to the many issues caused by climate change. GMO crops can withstand weather much more easier, like droughts. If there was a major drought and you were growing all organic crops, food supply is going to tank and a lot of money will be lost. And it will work to reduce the carbon footprint of agriculture. So overall, the benefits of GMOs today outweigh the cons. And to me personally, I just think it's a necessity of life now, because there's no way we could go on without GMOs, without a lot of people being hungry. And so that's about it. And there's my sources right there. Thank you.